Okay, now since our home page for the shop is up and running, we can proceed to defining the contents of this page. So we are going to go back to our layout page and start working on defining our header section. So let's go to the layout file. Okay. Now for the header section, we are going to create two divs as its children. So for the first div, let's give it a class name navActions. The first child of this div is an anchor tag with the class name logo, and over here let's give it a name LaraShop. Second child is going to be a search farm. We will eventually convert this search farm into a component, but for the time being, let's put in this div and let's put in the text search farm. And then the last div is user actions. This user action will contain registration, login, logout, and even the cart. So for the time being, let's just put the text user actions. Now let's move on to the second div of the header, which is the actual navigation. So let's give it a class nav menu. Now this nav menu is going to contain all the categories that we have in our category table as the menu items. So it will display those category names as menu items over here. That means over here we have to define anchor elements. But how many anchor elements? Well, that depends on how many categories do we have in our categories table. Not only that, but also how many of those categories are actually active. So we only want to display the categories which are active. For example, if we are in summer, then we don't want to display the winter related categories over here. So we will make those categories inactive and those categories should not be displayed over here. This implies that this part is going to be highly dynamic. That is, we cannot statically define those names or the number of categories over here because all of this is dynamic. The front end has to make a request to the back end to get all the categories that are currently active in the categories table. So our first task over here is to somehow get hold of those categories in the categories table. Now since this is a layout page, that means it is going to be used by all the other pages. So what we are going to do is that this request to get the category information from the categories table, we are going to make that request inside our service providers like we have been doing for the layout page for the admin side. So let's search for our service provider. So this is app service provider, and there is this composer that we have been using, view composer, using which we have been associating all the categories with the create page of the product as well as the edit page of the product. Now to this we can add actually another element, so comma, and over here we can say shop.layout because we want this categories information to be provided to this layout page which is inside this shop folder. So this is enough. Now just to confirm that it is working, let's go back to the layout page and over here let's iterate through them. So for each, the variable name is categories. So for each categories is category, and for the time being let's just dump everything in the browser. So category. Okay, let's see if it's working. Refresh. Okay, this is one category, men, another category, boys, then we have this girls category, baby, this one, and this is women. Okay, so it's working. However, for the admin side, we were interested in displaying all the categories even if they were inactive. But for the shop, we don't want to display the inactive category. So what we are going to do is that I'm going to copy paste this part, and from the top one, let's remove this shop.layout, and let's remove these original two blade files. And over here we are going to say we are replacing this all with where status is 1. Let's refresh it. Okay, something went wrong. Okay, we have to chain in another method, get F5. Okay, good. So we are getting all the categories because all of them are active. So what we are going to do is that let's open up MySQL workbench. Okay, for the categories, now over here, since the first category that is being displayed is main, so we are going to set it to inactive and see if we are still able to see this or not in the browser. So apply, finish. Okay, so main is inactive. Now when I refresh this page, we shouldn't be able to see this main category because its status is inactive, and we have over here said that all the categories whose status is 1 only display those categories. So let's refresh, and as you can see, the main has disappeared. Okay, so now this part is working. Now let's go back to the layout page. Now instead of displaying the whole category row, let's just display the name. Refresh. Okay, now boys, girls, baby and women. I'm going to set it back to 1. Apply, finish. Okay, good. Now we are going to turn these names into anchor tags. So here comes the name, and for the href, now over here we have to define a URL endpoint such that when we click on this, whatever the category name is, let's suppose it's main, we have clicked on this main category, then all the products which belong to that category should be displayed in the browser. If we have clicked on women category, then all the products belonging to women category get displayed in the browser. And likewise for the rest of the categories. Since we haven't yet defined that URL endpoint, so I'm going to leave it empty for the time being. So now over here we have got all the anchor tags, and this is all the information that we need for the time being to turn into a beautiful navigation page. So let's first define some CSS. Now for the styling, we use SCSS for the admin side, but for the front end, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to define CSS style within the blade file itself. For example, over here I'm going to define the styles which apply to this layout blade file. This way our styles will be in the same place where the blade file is, and since the focus of this tutorial is Livewire and Laravel, not the CSS styles, so we will be applying very minimum styles just so the content looks presentable in the browser. We will not have a lot of styles for which we need a separate file. So I'm going to stick with defining the styles with the blade files themselves. Okay, now for the styles, since this is a layout file, that means we have to define all the global styles over here as well. So we are going to start with asterisk block to remove all the margins and paddings. Box sizing is border box. For the HTML, font size 62.5%, and for the font family, let's search for Ropato font family. Okay, let's select this thin one, then light 300, regular, medium, and bold. Okay, now we are interested in getting this link, so now copy, paste it over here. Okay, and over here copy this, and for the HTML, let's place it over here. For the body, let's give it background color. Let's put in white for the time being. Okay, now let's move on to defining this. Let's start with the header class. For the time being, let's just give it width 100% of viewport width and move on to header and its first child, which is nav actions. Okay, for the nav actions, again width 100%. display is flex because it has 3 children, and justify content space between, align items, center. Okay, so Lara shop, search form, and user action. So we need to give it some padding now. Padding top and bottom, keep it 0, left and right, let's make it 5 rem. Okay, we need to remove this overflow X. We have to make it overflow X hidden so that we don't see this horizontal scroll bar. But the other problem is this user action is out of sight. So what could be the reason? Okay, this is actually box sizing. So when we set this box sizing, the padding is this padding, the 5 frame to the left and 5 frame to the right is taken from this total width. If we don't set box sizing to border box, then this is the total width plus 5 frame to the left and 5 frame to the right. That's why we were seeing this horizontal scroll bar. So I thought I have set this box sizing, but instead I had placed box shadow. So now hopefully this will resolve the problem. Refresh. So now you can see the left and right frame space is taken from the total width. That's why we don't see any horizontal scroll bar either. But just to be extra safe, we are going to set the overflow X to hidden. So under no circumstances we see this horizontal scroll bar. Okay, now header, name actions, and then we have logo. Let's change font size first of all to, let's make it 3.5 in. Okay, now let's define some global styles for the anchor tags so that we don't have to apply these styles for all the individual anchor elements. So first of all, text decoration is none, text transform capitalize. Okay, so now they are gone. The rest of the styles we are defining with this logo. Now let's define some global theme colors. So for that, let's define a root block and let's choose some colors. So primary color is, okay, this is better. Now darker shade, let's start here, copy paste, and now let's change it to darker shade. Okay, copy paste it, black color but in the same shade. Okay, that's better. Now let's define border color, copy paste. Instead of border color we can use gray color, so basically a gray color but from the same palette. Okay, so for the borders and outlines we can use this black color. For the text also this black color. This is primary color, this is a darker shade of the primary color. Okay, color, let's make it black color. Okay, good. Now for the search form, let's create a form. Input type search, name is search, placeholder search. Okay, so we only have this one input field of type search in the search form. Okay, so there it is. Not apply any styling for this for the time being. Let's move on to the user actions. Now for the user actions. Now when it comes to user actions, we want to have two different set of actions to be displayed based on whether the user is currently a logged in user or a guest user. So we have different set of directives within which we can define these elements. So if the user is a guest user, then this is what should be visible in the browser. However, if the user is an authenticated user, then whatever we define over here should be displayed. However, a card should always be visible. So let's give it the class name basket. Okay, so basket should be displayed no matter what. However, based on whether currently the visiting user is a guest user or a logged in user, we should display different contents. So if user is a guest user, we should see an anchor tag with the text account. When we click on this account, we will be taken to another page where you can either log in or register. However, if you are already a logged in user, in this case, you should see your name, the account name. So this is what should display over here. Now since currently we are not logged in, so we won't be able to see this part, because this part is only going to get displayed if we are logged in. Since we are currently a guest user, so this thing will be visible alongside this basket. So now you can see this is account and this is basket. We are unable to see this username. So we will again replace this thing with the actual contents, but currently this text is enough. Now for this account and basket, we need to display the icons. So we are going to use font icon for that. Font awesome, sorry. Okay, after logging in, let's go to your kits, and I have only one free kit, so let's copy its link and paste it over here. Now let's go and search for the icons. Okay, the first one is user. I can only use this older version with my free kit. Okay, we can't use pros, however, let's select this one, click to copy it, come down and paste it over here. Next, search for basket. Select this free one, click to copy and paste. Okay, now we can see both of these icons as well. Now let's go back to defining styles for them. Copy this, paste over here. Now okay, again select display to flex, copy paste it. Now for its children, let's give both of them some margin. So margin left, let's give it 1.5 then. Okay, that's better. Now we need some font size. So font size is 1.4 then. Okay, that's enough for the time being. Now let's move on to these menu items. So header, then nav menu. Again, display is flex. justify content, let's make it center, align items center, let's give it headings. Heading for the top and bottom 0 rem and left and right 5 rem. The same padding that we have given to its sibling, that is this nav actions, this padding over here. Okay, now let's have a look. Okay, now they are in the center, but let's give it top and bottom padding. Let's make it 2 rem. And let's give the same padding to its sibling as well. Okay, now let's give the second child a background color. It's going to be primary color. Okay, that's better. Now let's move on to these anchor tags. So let's copy this, paste, and then anchor. First of all, let's increase the font size to 1.2 rem. Okay, now let's give it padding left. Let's make it 1 rem, or maybe make it 1.5 rem. Okay, maybe we need to increase the font size to 2 rem. Okay, now let's make this 2 rem as well. Again, let's change the color to, what colors do we have? Black color. Okay, this much styling is enough for the time being. Now let's move on to, when we click on these categories, we should see the products over here. For example, if we click on this main category, we should see all the products coming from the main category. If you click on the boys, we should see all the products which belong to this boys category, and so on. So that means when we click on this main, this section changes. The contents over here are coming from the home Livewire component. So that means we have to create another component which is going to bring in category products. So let's create that component. So PHP artisan make Livewire shop dot category products. So product belonging to a particular category. Okay, so now another component has been created. Okay, now let's go to that category product. Okay, this is the class, PHP class file. We are interested in the blade file for the time being. So let's just change the text over here. This text is coming from category products component. First of all, we have to make sure that when we click on these menu items, the contents over here change. Once we are able to do that, then we will figure out how can we make the product associated with that particular category display over here. So first of all, we are going to our routes file, and over here we have to create another route. So this time the class name is category products and name is shop dot category products. Let's change the URL endpoint. So the URL endpoint is going to be category. Now since this category is going to be dynamic, that means it's going to vary depending on which category we have clicked on. So that's why I have turned into a parameter, a route parameter. Okay, this is one thing. Now we have to go to category products PHP class file. Now we have to make sure that this component also takes layout as its layout page. So basically this component has to extend layout page. Now to make it extend layout page, we have to use PHP attribute. So hash square brackets and layout, let's pass in shop.layout. Now this is wants us to import the class. Okay, Livewire attributes layout class has been imported. Okay, so now we have linked our layout file with this component, and we have also created a web route. Now let's go to our layout page and in the href over here we have to provide the URL. So the URL is, we are going to use route function. So route name is shop.category products. This is the name we gave to the route. Now it takes a route parameter. The route parameter name was category, and we have to pass in this whole category. Okay, now let's go to category products over here, and over here simply display that variable category. Let's refresh. Invalid route category products. I forgot to import it in the web.php. So import. This class is imported. Okay, now it's working, but let's refresh it anyway. Click main. Undefined variable category. Oh, I know what the problem is. Well, the thing is this, we are passing this route parameter, but we have to make sure this route parameter is somehow accepted by this category product PHP class as well, this component class as well. So for that we are going to create a function which is equivalent to the constructor functions, but for the Livewire components that constructor is named mount. So let's create public function mount. So mount is a constructor function for Livewire components, and this function has to take parameters which we are passing as a route parameters in our web URLs. So we are passing a category, so I'm type hinting it with the category class. Now we have to import this class. So app models category, and we have to define this category as a public attribute for this component. So public category, and in the body of this mount function we have to assign whatever category that we receive to this category property. Okay, now let's recap it. Because we are passing a route parameter, therefore this category product class has to define this variable as its property, a public property, and then in its constructor, which is named mount, we have to assign whatever we receive as a value for its public property. So this is what we are doing. So we are defining a public property with the name category, and then we are creating a mount function, which means a constructor which takes an object of type category, and then we are assigning whatever we receive this category to our public property over here. Now hopefully we have resolved this issue as well. Refresh, and now you can see this data is coming from category products component. ID is 2, name is main, status active, created 8. So this is the category data. Now let's click on boys, and again ID 3, name is boys, status is active, and rest of the information. Girls, so this is name is, it's girls. Baby changes to baby. Women, and it changes to women. So this is first part. When we click on these menu items, the contents over here in the slot variable changes from home component to category products component. Now the next step is, instead of seeing this category related information, we have to bring in all the components which match this category. So for that we have to come back to this category products class, and within this render function over here we have to access our database, and this time we have to request all the products whose category ID matches this particular category. So that means what we have to do is that we have to get access to product table where category underscore ID equals this category ID. Now over here we are saying go to the products table and bring all of those products whose category underscore ID matches the ID of the category. Then we have to chain in the get method. Now this is complaining that this product is unknown, so we have to import it. The class is imported. Let's verify. There it is, app models product. Now since this will return us a collection of products, so let's store it in a variable named products. And now we have to pass in that products to this blade file. So products. Okay, now let's go back to this blade file associated with component, that is category-products. And over here, since it's a collection, so we are using for else products product, and for the time being let's simply dump everything that this product variable contains, and in the empty let's insert a paragraph. Currently there are no products for the category name category. So if there are no products, then this empty part will execute and this text will be displayed. Otherwise this for else part will execute and one by one all the products will be displayed. Okay, good. So these are, okay, the main is ID2, boys ID3, sorry, category underscore ID3. Okay, these are the components in boys. Girls, currently there are no products for the girls category. Baby, so these are all the products for the baby. And women, lots of products for the women as well. Okay, so we have successfully managed to bring in all the products which belong to whatever category we have clicked on. Now the next thing that we can do is that if you click on this main, you see this whole page gets reloaded. That means the content in the center, but also this navigation bar. One of the reasons for using Livewire was we wanted to avoid as much page reloading as possible. Because remember, it's an e-commerce website, so that means in our actual website there will be lots of images, lots of requests to our database. So this is going to cost us lots of network requests and we want to avoid them. And that's one of the reasons we are using Livewire. So over here, since we know that these contents in the center are supposed to change, but what about this navigation bar? It's supposed to remain static because there isn't anything that we have changed. So why are we reloading this whole page? We only want to reload the contents which have actually changed. So in order to stop this navigation bar from reloading, every time we click on one of these menu items, all we have to do is we have to come to our layout page where we are defining these anchor tags which represent these menu items, and along with this anchor tag we have to attach a Livewire directory which is called wire : navigate. So this is all that we have to do. Now let's click on the boys and notice you won't see this reloading sign over here. Click boys and contents got changed, but you didn't see this whole page got reloaded. Click on girls and again you notice that no whole page has been reloaded even though the contents have changed. So just by attaching this small direct, we have turned our pages into kind of single page applications. Okay, I think this is enough for today's video. In the next video we will go back to working on our home page because currently our home page doesn't contain any data over here, so we want to bring in some data that we are able to see the moment we type in this URL, and probably we will also style these products as well. So until then, keep learning, and by the way, if you like my contents, please don't forget to subscribe my channel, click on the bell button, give me a thumbs up and comment as well. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Happy coding.